welcome to Board Games with Niramas, and welcome back for you that have been watching the setup video. Now it's time for the run-through of Imperial Assault and the Star Wars universe. And this game is published by Fantasy Flight Games, of course, and it's a few years old, but it's still really hot in my opinion. It's one of the best games ever made. Of course, this is a sort of re-theming of the game Descent, which was very popular. But I prefer this one. There's some rules differences, and also, of course, the Star Wars universe. And as you can see, it's not just me that's excited about this game. We have a real Jedi dragon here, and so Drako-Wan Kenobi is going to play the rebel side. I will be the evil Empire, of course. And if you just clicked in here and you're thinking, okay, this game looks massive, how do I set it up and so on? Well, go to the link over here and you will see the setup video and the basic rules explained there. But let's get to the game. We are, of course, all these things out here, and so we will take a look here. Now Draco is the rebels. He has his rebel heroes here, the Fence Cygnus, the hardened veteran soldier, and so he's using a infantry rifle and he's going to blast those evil Empire troops. Now Diala Pasil down here, she is a Jedi apprentice, so she's using a plasteel staff. She doesn't have a lightsaber yet, perhaps she will get one later on, who knows. And so since Draco is playing by himself, he has 2 heroes instead of 4 as you could have if you're more players. He also have these legendary cards, so each of his heroes will get 10 extra health, which will make a big difference. Also, he has 2 activation tokens on each of the heroes here, so we'll be able to use them twice in each round. Alright, I'm the Empire here, and I have this starting Stormtrooper group, an Imperial officer, and a probe droid. That's what I'm starting with. I also have a special ability here when I get attacked by the rebels, I could exhaust this card, so I can use this once every round. And then that means that the rebel player has to take on some strain to attack me, or he can choose to instead give me some more defense. I could get an evade, sort of. Alright, so let's just start playing and I will explain things as we go. Now this is the first scenario, this is the intro one, and so let's do this properly, shall we? Yeah, I'm not gonna sing anymore, but that's a really nice introduction here for the scenario. And I will, as the Imperial player, I would go to my manual here and I will read the mission briefing for Draco. So here we go. Arriving at the outpost, you immediately open fire upon the troops standing guard. You suspect they knew you were coming and that you're likely walking into an ambush. All the same, with the signal continuing to broadcast, there just isn't time for a more subtle approach. So Draco has to stop the signal from broadcasting. Alright, and here are some ground rules for this scenario that I will tell the rebel player. A rebel figure can attack a terminal. It's these computers here, a few of them here. It has 4 health and the defense of 1 shield. It gets an extra shield if it's adjacent to an Imperial figure. So I'm going to try to get my guys standing next to the terminals, because then they will have 2 shields instead and be a bit more defended. The doors are locked to Imperial players. I can't open the doors, but Draco can, and that's one of his actions if he chooses to do that. The mission ends when all terminals are destroyed, all of these computers, then the rebels win, or at the end of round 6, or when all heroes are wounded, and that's how the Imperial side win. And we have this tracker to keep track of the rounds, so we're going to start with the first round, of course, and as you can see, I'm not starting with any threat. Some missions have a starting threat for the Imperial, so that's how I can purchase new troops to get them in. But I do start with some reserves, so I have 3 reserve cards here, and Draco doesn't know what they are, and they might come in at a later time. So we're starting off, and Draco is the first player since he's the rebel. The rebel always begins, and so he will be able to choose which of his heroes will activate first. And so let's say he will take Diala down here, and he will flip one of these tokens to indicate that she's been activated. And so she gets to do 2 actions, and those actions could be to move, they could be to attack, rest, interact with something, a door, a crate, or a computer perhaps. And so let's see, what is he going to do? Well, he's going to start off by moving. So when he moves, he sort of, the action it's called move, but what actually happens is he gets movement points up to her speed. And Diala here has 4 in speed, so Draco gets 4 movement points with her. So he's going to go, and he can move diagonally, he can move over his friends. That's no extra cost, but if he would move over an enemy, then he would have to pay 2 movement points instead of 1. So he will move 1, 2, 3. So that means he still has 1 movement point left that he can use later on if he wants to. And now he will do an attack. And so we take a look at Diala's weapon. And it's a melee weapon, that's what this symbol is showing, and it has a green and a yellow die. So he will use those to attack, and he will attack the Stormtrooper right here. And the Stormtrooper, if we take a look at him, he has a black die as defense. So he will defend using the black die, and we will roll, and I will just roll all of these together. Normally you would, but I'm helping Draco out. He's holding the lightsabers right over here, so he can't roll dice. He's too much into the whole role playing. Alright, here we go. So let's see, Diala did, well, the number here we would ignore because she's doing a melee attack, so it doesn't matter with the range. She's adjacent to the guy she's hitting. Also, she has a weapon with reach, which means she could actually hit from 2 spaces away. Alright, so she's doing 1 hit here, 1 damage. Then she has a total of 2 surges, these little lightnings. And if we take a look at her weapon, she can convert one of them into a damage and one of them into a stun. And so she can only use these abilities once, so even though she has 2 surges, she can't do 2 extra damage. So she will use one of them for damage, that means she's up to 2 damage, and the next one she could use then for stun, but the problem is the Stormtrooper has 3 shields in defense, so no damage is done at all. Alright, so that was Draco's first activation. He did Diala and she moved and she attacked, and she still has 1 movement point. If she wants to, she could move away from here somehow, but she's just gonna stand there. It's a good spot for her. Alright, so then it's back to me, and now I get to choose one of my groups here that I will activate. If I do the Stormtroopers, that means all of the 3 Stormtroopers will get to activate. If I choose the Imperial Officer or the Pro Droid, then that's only 1 figure that's going to be activated. But I'm going to use the Stormtroopers, so I will exhaust this card by tapping it like that. And now I get to use all my Stormtroopers. I can use them 1 at a time. So let's say this guy, Bob over here, he's going to move 1, 2, 3, go up to the corner here, and he's going to take a shot at Fenn over there. And so the Stormtroopers, we take a look at their card, they are attacking using blue and green. So he gets a blue and green, and Fenn is defending using a black die. So let's see what the roll is here. Alright, so Fenn is defending with 1 shield. The Stormtrooper is doing 1 damage. And first of all, what you check is the range. The range between them are 2, because that's how far it would take for the Stormtrooper to go over to Fenn's spot. So if you take a look here, well, he did 3 in accuracy or in range, so he's hitting Fenn. And he does 1 damage, and then he has a surge, and the Stormtrooper can convert that surge into another damage. So that's what he's going to do. So that's 2 damage against 1 block. So Fenn takes 1 of these wound markers. And so Fenn starts with 22 health because he has this legendary card. So that was just 1 of his 22 down there. Alright, then we go to the next Stormtrooper. He's going to move 1, to 3, and he's going to shoot at Fen as well. Oh, and Fen is blocking 3 blocks, so the Stormtrooper is not doing any damage at all. And we have the third Stormtrooper. He's in the water here, so he has to move 1, 2 to get out of the water because it's difficult terrain. We can see by the blue line here. And then he will move 3, 4, and he's going to shoot at Fen as well. Now, let's see, the range is, he's up to 7, so that's no problem for him. He's hitting. And Fen is blocking by 1, so that's 2, 3, minus 1, so that's 2 damage to Fen. And that was the Stormtroopers, and as you can see, I spread them out a bit because Fen has a sort of area of, what's it called, AoE. So he can do a blast when he shoots, and he can hit several of them if they are close up to each other, adjacent. But that's why I spread them out a bit, so they're a bit safer. Now it's Draco's turn, and now he has to go with Fen, because he can't use the same hero twice, sort of, if the... Well, now he could use Fen twice and then Diala, but if Fen has 2 activations ready and she only has 1, he has to go with him. It's not that complicated as it sounds. It was a bit complicated to explain. But alright, let's just say that he has to alternate between them a bit. So now it's Fen's turn, and let's see, he's not going to move at all. He's going to spend both his actions attacking. So we take a look at Fen's weapon. He has a green and a blue die. Let's see if I can get some focus there. Come on. There we go. So he will have a blue and green. The Stormtrooper has a black defense die, so we'll roll again. Let's see, he's attacking the Stormtrooper over here. You have to declare that, of course. And the range is okay. He got 4, so that's no problem. He's going to hit the Stormtrooper. And he did 3 damage and 1 surge, and the surge can be used for another damage. So that's 4 damage minus the 2. The Stormtrooper takes 2 damage, and as we can see here, he only has 3 health, so he's almost dead. And since there's 3 different Stormtroopers, we can't put the damage markers on the card because then we don't know which Stormtrooper is hit. So we have to put them right here at his base. There we go. And now Fen is going to attack again, so he's going to attack this Stormtrooper right here. And that was 3 damage, and the Stormtrooper rolled an evade. This symbol means evade, and it's cancelling 1 surge. Now Draco didn't roll any surges with Fen, so that doesn't matter for the Stormtrooper. And so he gets 3 damage, and so that means the Stormtrooper is killed and he's removed. So he goes over here in the reserve. Here. And he could be put in again later by me using the threat that I will get at the end of the round. So that was Fen, and so it's back to the Empire, and let's see. I'm going to use the probe droid, so I'm going to exhaust that card. And I'm going to move. Now the probe droid doesn't care about difficult terrain because he's hovering, right? So he moves down here and he's going to shoot at Diala. Now the probe droid will have 2 blue and 1 yellow die, so he has 3 dice. He's quite powerful. And Diala is defending with a white die because she's a force user. As you can see here on the card, she has a white die for defense. So let's see how that goes. Oh, 2 blue, sorry. There we go. So the droid is doing 1, 2, 3 damage and 2 surges. Then we have to take a look at the card. You can use the surges here for an extra damage, so that's what this is for, so that's 4 damage. Then he will use this surge for Pierce 1, and Pierce is sort of taking out one of the shields. So he will take out this shield, and we are doing, let's see, 4 damage and 0 shield, so Diala takes 4 damage. And she has 22 health as well, so no worries for Draco quite yet. Alright, and as you remember from the mission description, one of the ways for the Empire to win is to wound all of those heroes, so I will have to do 22 damage times 2. Then also counting for the fact that Draco can use his hero to rest, and then it will recover damage. So it's quite hard to get them wounded. But the other win condition for the Empire is to have the match go on, and at the end of round 6, then the Empire is going to win. So maybe I will go for that instead, just try to delay Draco as much as possible. So it's Draco's turn now. He can go with any hero he likes, and I think he will use Diala again. So she will do a move, or will she? No, she has a reach, remember, on a weapon, so she can hit from 2 slots away, 2 spaces away. I have some trouble with the focus here today. Alright, and so she will hit the droid. And Diala has a green and a yellow. The droid has a black as defense, and so we will roll again. And let's see. The droid has 3 in defense, so that's quite good. And Diala is doing 3 hits, so it's cancelled out. Nothing happens. But she's just standing there, so she can do another attack on her turn. So let's see if she's going to do that. Now it was a bit better. It's 2 damage against 1 block, but she has a search as well. And she's going to use the search here to do a stun. And so it's 2 minus 1, so she will inflict 1 damage upon the droid, and we can put that down here on the card because there's only 1 droid, right? There, and also the droid will be stunned, and then we will take one of these cards. Conditions, as it's called, and the conditions are only inflicted if you manage to do damage as well. If she hadn't done any damage, then she couldn't have done a stun. But now she did a stun, and the stun means that the droid now cannot voluntarily exit his space or attack during his next round, but he can use an action. This little arrow here indicates that that's an action. He can use an action to discard its condition. So next round, basically, he can't move and shoot. He can only remove the stun and then shoot or move. So we put it down here by the droid, and so it's time for me again, and see, like that. Sorry for that, I don't know why the focus is so off on the camera right now. And so let's see, we will go to my turn. I have only the Imperial officer left, so he's going to go. Now the Imperial officer has a special action. As you can see with an arrow here, he can do order, which is he could tell another friendly figure within 2 spaces to interrupt to perform a move. So he could tell well, he's not close enough, but if he moves here, then he could tell the droid to move, even though it's not the droid's turn. And also, this is the basic unit. Now there's a elite version of this over here, and the elite Imperial officer, indicated by having this red base. If he's out, he has another card, which is the elite card, and then he could also order Imperial figures to attack when it's out of turn, so that's a really powerful unit. But right now I only have the basic one, and so he will be able to move other figures around, but he's not going to do that. He's going to move once because he wants to be, he can stand on the crate here, he wants to be adjacent to the terminal, remember, because then the terminal gets more health, or more defense, sorry, not health. It will get another shield to defend it once it gets attacked. And so he will fire upon Diala. He has a blue and a yellow. Diala is defending with a white. And look at that, Diala rolled a dodge, which means we don't have to do any calculations. She just dodged the whole attack, no damage taken at all. So that was nice for her. Now it is Draco's turn, and it's time for Fen again. He's going to activate. We're going to switch that over like that. And so Fen is going to, I think he's going to move this time, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's going to shoot at the droid, because now he has line of sight of the droid. He didn't have it from back there. Now line of sight in this game is sort of drawn by, you start with your space that you're in, and you have to go from one of the corners and draw 2 different lines, and they have to hit 2 different corners on the opponent's space. So he's going to draw from this corner here, he's going to go to this corner and this corner where the droid is standing, then he can see the droid, he can shoot at it. Let's say if he was standing behind Diala here, he wouldn't be able to do that. So, I mean, it's quite, logical. If you almost get into it after a while, you can, well, I have line of sight, you can see that. The only kind of issue that you can have in the beginning when you play this game is if you're, let's say, in this corner over here, then it could look like, well, it's a wall here, so he can't shoot out, right? Well, he can, because he can draw from this corner and shoot at something out here, and that's sort of simulating that the figure is leaning out of a corner and shooting. Alright, so he's shooting at the droid. He has a blue and a green, and the droid is defending with a black. And now, when he's attacking, I'm going to prey upon doubt. I'm going to exhaust my card here. I can do once a round, and I'm going to say to Fan that he has to either take 1 strain or he has to give me 1 evade besides what I roll. So he's going to take 1 strain, this little marker. He can take up to 4 because he has an endurance value of 4, and if he has to take more after that, then he will start taking wounds or damage instead. So let's see, he's attacking the droid, and the droid is defending really well, 3 shields, and so there's nothing Fan can do, no damage done there. And let's see, that was his move, and he was shooting at the droid, so that's the whole first round. And now we were going to go to, well, it's not a round, it's sort of the action phase, and then we go to the phase where we will set things up for the next round. So everything will be untapped or refreshed, and these markers will be flipped to the green side again, they are active again. And now I will get to threat, and we'll go into round number 2, and I can use this threat if I want to deploy troops. Like if we take a look at the Stormtrooper card, to deploy a whole unit of Stormtroopers I would have to have 6 threat, but since they consist of 3 different Stormtroopers, then I can use 2 to reinforce that group, and I will do that. So I will get Bob in again here, he's ready to fight again. And if I take a look at the campaign guide, I have to put him in the green slot here, which is active, and later on the red and the yellow might become active as well. But I have to put him in the green, and now he can't go there because the droid is there. So then I will be able to choose any adjacent spot for him. So I'll just put him right here next to the terminal. And that costs me 2 threats, so I will go down to 0 again. I could choose to save this if I want to, for maybe I have a big unit that's really costly. I will have to save up some threat to be able to get him out later on. Alright, so then we will head into the second round, and I will just take a little break here. You've seen some of the game, and if you want to see how this scenario ends, then you should go click here for the part 2. If you're on a mobile device, you can go down to the description down here, you can click the link there to find it. And also I will ask you to share the video with your friends, like the video, subscribe to the channel down here, hit the red little button down there for a subscription, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you get some sense out of it. It's quite a lot to explain, there's a lot to take in, so I'm sorry if it gets confusing at sometimes, but I'm trying to sort of give you the feeling for the game, give you the overall rules, and then you can, of course, if you pick this game up, you can of course go through the rules in the manual and get all those little, well, what can happen in this case and so on. Alright, so enough talking, let's go to part 2, and I will see you there. Thank you for watching, bye.